I'm Joaquin Valdez,
And I'm Carol Robles.
and we've been coming to Emmanuel for 13 years. We started as boyfriend and girlfriend when we were invited by our mutual friends. We would go to church off and on Sundays, and eventually we got married. We had kids. I wanted to raise my children in the church, and I wanted them to belong. We've been coming to Emmanuel ever since. And I think the biggest blessing has been the fact that we've been able to bring our kids in the church and seeing them grow in the Lord and seeing them also hunger for the Lord in the same way that we do. I think that's been the biggest blessing.
I grew up in the church, and giving was a big part of kind of what we did, part of the obedience. If we had $1, we automatically had 10 cents to give.
I think I've always struggled with the idea of giving, and for me it wasn't something that came easy, and I can't say that I'm giving with an open heart, and I think that was what I battled with for the longest. And I would see the basket come across, the pews. I would still think to myself like, oh man, it's always about giving. It's always about giving.
A few years back, the Lord put it in our hearts about actually giving faithfully and consistently. The Lord began to convict us because initially it started with an offering, just a regular offering, but it didn't feel like a huge commitment.
And I think it was at that point where it really kind of changed for us to say like, man, now I really want to give, and I want to give with an open heart, and I don't want to feel convicted because I'm battling with should I give today, and what about the expenses that I have coming up. Like it turned into more like I have to give because it's what God wants me to do. And at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that the money that we make is not ours. It's all the Lord's, and He can give us money today and take it away tomorrow. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned from giving is that in return I'm being blessed tenfold.
Well, it's also we've had the opportunity also within our groups to have honest conversations about how other couples who are more seasoned than us and who have been at the church twice as long as we have went through the same phase where they struggled with it and they battled with it.
And it made it more real for us because then we didn't feel like, or at least I should say, I didn't feel like, it's just me, being selfish or not willing to give. It's not something that you have to do alone.
But just knowing that as long as you start, right, you start and you're faithful on that journey. And there's been some of us who've started at a lower percentage, right? And you slowly build your way up until you can get to that place. So just pray for the Lord to soften your heart and to allow you to see that ultimately this is a seed, that you're doing it out of obedience.
Emmanuel does a good job of not only sharing with us the reason why we give, the reason why we tithe, but also putting it in plain view as to what happens with the money that we tithe.
So when we see how generous Emmanuel has been, you can't help but to be so grateful and want to also pay it forward. And the Lord has just blessed us. So it's just something to be grateful for.